A lonely insomniac with no name mentioned throughout the movie starts to attend support groups for people with serious illnesses. Our narrator does so with a fake identity, as he can cry his heart out and later sleep like a newborn baby. It is here where he befriends Marla Singer, who also has been faking her way into support groups. One day on a flight home from a business trip, the narrator meets a handsome soap salesman named Tyler Durden, who hands him a business card. After finding out his apartment was caught on fire, the narrator surprisingly calls Tyler and meets him at a bar. The two talk about consumerism and how it's eating up the world. When it's time to head their separate ways, Tyler offers the narrator to be his new housemate. But to seal the deal, Tyler insists that they first engage in a fist fight. The two beat each other up and, weirdly enough, end up enjoying it, so much so they plan to do it again. Since then, they begin to take part in occasional and consensual beatdowns of each other. And soon, more people follow in their footsteps and join in what becomes Fight Club. Tyler lays out two important rules which both forbid them to talk about the club which they're in. Meanwhile, Marla calls the narrator and tells him that she's going to take her life. The narrator doesn't take it seriously, but Tyler goes to Marla, saves her from killing herself, and then starts sleeping with her, which starts to irritate the narrator. The club, on the other hand, starts to get more and more members, even with the narrator's support group friend Bob joining in. To fund the ever-growing club's activities, the narrator brutally beats himself up in his boss's office and blackmails him into providing company assets and a large severance paycheck. All seems well until Tyler begins to use Fight Club members in acts of vandalism. He enforces the idea of anti-corporation and starts Project Mayhem to put an end to the materialistic and corporate-run society. The narrator realizes all of this is stupidly dangerous when Bob gets shot by police and dies. He tries to stop the project, but no one is ready to listen. Plus, Tyler is missing. He follows Tyler's trail to get an idea of what he's planning, but no one is stupid enough to break the first and second rule of Fight Club. When someone calls him Mr. Durden, the narrator feels something's up. He calls Marla and confirms that there's no person named Tyler Durden. It was an imaginary persona that he had created for himself. Tyler was all in his head, and he was the one who started Fight Club and later Project Mayhem. The narrator is Tyler Durden. He rushes to his house and finds out that he, while he was Tyler, planned to erase debt by exploding buildings that house credit card records, basically bringing everyone's debt down to zero. He tries to warn the police, but surprisingly, they're also members of Fight Club. The narrator sneaks into one of the buildings and tries to disarm the explosives, but his mind gets taken over by Tyler. He shoots at Tyler, but since it's only in his mind, he can't kill him with a bullet. The narrator then gets beaten up by himself. He later finds himself held at gunpoint by Tyler. The club members have also kidnapped Marla, as she knows a lot about Tyler and the narrator, who's finding it hard to convince Tyler to stop everything. But then, he comes to his senses that Tyler isn't real and the gun is actually in his own hands. The narrator fires the gun into his mouth, shooting through his cheek, which finally manages to get Tyler out of his mind. After getting back control over his mind, the narrator tells Project Mayhem members to give him and Marla some privacy. He saves Marla, but it's too late to stop the buildings from exploding. And what follows is truly one of the greatest endings in cinematic history. Thank you for watching. If you liked the video, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel for more 3-minute recaps.